Tetris Attack! Tetris Attack!
Alright, as promised, in this video I'm going to be doing a playthrough of the Versus mode. This is actually my favorite of all the different games within Tetris Attack. Alright, in Versus mode there are actually technically four levels of difficulty. There's easy, normal, and hard. And once you beat the hard mode, there's a combination of buttons to press and it'll take you to extra hard, or whatever the term is. I'm actually going to do a playthrough of the extra hard mode. So here we go. Basically, the story is that Bowser uses magic, and it causes rain to fall, and it casts a spell on all the characters, and he turn evil and try to basically get Yoshi. And ironically, the majority of the characters are actually Yoshi's enemies in the Yoshi's Island game. Alright, so Yoshi leaves his island, goes on the Rainbow Highway, and first stop is the Breeze Stage, which features Lakitu and Goonie. Now, as usual, the gameplay is you want to clear the blocks, and you want to be the survivor. So the object of the game is not only to survive, but cause your enemy to RIP. And the easiest way of doing that is every time you create a combo or chain, it creates what's called garbage blocks. And you can see there's red and blue. I'm on the left side of the screen. The opponent's on the right side. And the more intricate the combo or chain is, the bigger the blocks. Now, combos are a single layer, but chains can be multiple layers. And what happens is you can actually clear the garbage blocks by clearing the regular blocks that are adjacent to it, and it converts that bottom row of garbage blocks into regular blocks. And that's how you can clear the garbage blocks. Alright, the second stage is the ice stage with Lumpty and Mr. Freezegood. Or the glacier stage, I believe it said. So, as you might expect, the easier opponents are early on, and then they get more and more difficult later on in the game. Not to give you too much of a spoiler, but I have a brain fart moment and almost completely blow it, but I do hang on. And by the way, once you beat the extra hard mode, there's yet another secret that's revealed. You can actually choose one of the characters that you quote-unquote defeat by, again, pushing a combination of buttons. For now, I'm just Yoshi throughout. This is the forest stage with Poochie and Grinder. When this game was originally released in Japan, it was called Panel de Pon, and even though the gameplay was exactly the same as it is in the North American version, it actually featured a different set of characters. The main character, the protagonist, it was the character Lip, and I won't reveal who the main enemy is, but basically, she would go from place to place, and then defeat the final boss. In this case, in the North American version, it's all the characters from Yoshi Island, with Yoshi being the protagonist, and Bowser being the antagonist. This is the next stage. It's the flower stage, featuring Fly Wiggler and Ego Dill. Now, if you remember the Super Mario World game, Wiggler was just a simple caterpillar. However, in Yoshi's Island, which was the official sequel to the game, he eventually becomes a butterfly, which is the case here. if you hit the L or R buttons, it actually raises the stack. Now, obviously, you don't want him to go to the very top because otherwise you lose, but it's also beneficial to raise the stack, that way you have more blocks to work with. Alright, moving on, the next stage is the water stage featuring Froggy and Claw Daddy. I hated Froggy, the character in Yoshi's Island, because he would always use his big tongue and steal Baby Mario, and it was extremely annoying. This is where I get my revenge. Alright, the next stage is the Blaze stage, featuring Gargantua Blarg and Flamer Guy. I always thought that was a cool name, Gargantua Blarg. This is also the official halfway point. There are 12 stages in all. Alright, the next stage is Sea Stage with Lungefish and Flopsy Fish. They come up with the most interesting names, I think, for the characters. Now, I don't know what it is about this stage. It always seems to give me problems more than the others. I don't know if it's the programming in the game or just, I don't know, maybe it's just me. It always seems to give me more hassles than the other characters. Then also, in the Yoshi's Island game, he would often try to, or actually swallow Yoshi, and yeah, not fun. This time, no problem. So that was the Sea Stage. And the next one is the Lunar Stage, featuring Raphael the Raven and Shy Guy. Now the Raphael the Raven's color is actually black. However, if you throw an egg at him or bop him for whatever reason, or in any other way get kind of angry, he actually turns like a bright orange color or red color. So he's angry about something. Yeah, got it times 13. I think it doesn't really matter once you go beyond times 13. You get the same thickness of garbage blocks, so... And for the longest time, I was pretty much only thinking of one dimension. I was basically just focusing on going across it horizontally. But then I decided to, I don't know, take a closer look at it and work more vertically, if that makes any sense, and like go two-dimensional as well. And you can find a lot of extra moves, and that's how you can help improve your skill. Alright, no sweat at all. So those are the quote-unquote main characters that were placed under spell, and now Yoshi gets transported to the Cave of Wickedness, where Bowser and his cronies reside. So into the evil volcano, Mount Wickedness. Alright, and first we encounter Hookbill the Koopa. There's a little bit of a stuttering going on. Now here you can actually pick one of the other characters. In this case I stay with Yoshi. Once you beat this entire game, then you can actually change characters immediately after defeating them earlier on. This is where the game kind of steps up a notch. And strategy, you see where I moved the green blocks immediately above the green block that was being converted. That's like the best strategy in terms of staying alive and for defense. Because once you convert the garbage blocks, you turn into regular blocks. And what you do is you arrange two of the same blocks below the third one, and that way it'll not only create a chain, but then you can go ahead and it'll keep clearing more and more layers of the garbage block. So that's a good strategy that I use. So off goes Hookbill. Alright, the next one, Naval Piranha. And this is actually one of my favorite bad guys. I just think it's an awesome character. But for some reason, I suffer a major brain fart in this. I don't know what was happening. But I barely stay alive for this. He wants me to be his supper. Well, we'll see about that. So here I'll go ahead and change to Poochie. So, hang on. Yes, it gets very, very dicey. The key is to just not panic. Just go ahead and look for potential combos and chains to stop the blocks. Keep you alive. That's exactly what I did. Alright, at this point, I'm finally out of the choppy waters, able to recompose myself. Or regain my composure, I should say. I've had battles where it's gone upwards of 4 minutes. Like when I have one of my brain fart episodes. Yeah, there seems to always be, whenever I do a playthrough, there seems to always be the one round where I don't know, just lose concentration or just, I'm in a dicey situation, but I usually almost always pull through. Just gotta keep your wits about you no matter how skilled you are at this game. By the way, I didn't mention before, the exclamation point blocks, the gray ones, they're treated just like any other of the other blocks, except you only need 3 of them to create 3 of them in a row to create a garbage block, and they create the gray garbage blocks, and they're used as a separate layer, so if a block's below it, it will only clear that block, and then the exclamation garbage blocks act as a divider, so you need to do a second row of clearing. Just makes it more challenging for your opponent. So finally, I end up defeating Naval Piranha. No dinner for you. Alright, moving on to the penultimate opponent. It's Kneck the Magic Koopa. And his toadies. How dare you interfere with one of my spells? After you play for a little bit, you actually develop rhythm. Like, you know how long it's going to take for the blocks to clear. And you come up with like different tricks and techniques. Like a lot of times, like I would develop what I call a bridge. I'm pretty sure it's not called that. Where if you need to move a block from one side from like the left to the right or vice versa, you can use another block to move it across, so to speak. So it's just different things like that you kind of develop over time. So Kneck, no problemo. Did I really lose? Yes, you did. Hocus pocus, stop this insanity. Alright, now to the boss. The main boss. Music gets epic. Now, in the paneled upon Japanese version, this music that's playing right now is what's actually used during gameplay. And I actually do like it better. The music that's coming up during the gameplay is, I think it's kind of cheesy. But I don't know, cheesy is the right word, but it's not as good as this music is. I go back to picking Yoshi because, you know, Yoshi has to be the one to battle Bowser. It's a... Yep. Yeah, after the Naval Piranha stage, this is kind of anticlimactic. I noticed with the computer, they are pretty tough and they're very offensive-minded. They go for the garbage blocks, but a lot of times they use up too many of the regular blocks. So when I pile my garbage blocks on them, they don't have any blocks left to work with to clear out my blocks. So the key is to be both offensive and defensive. Make sure you have plenty of blocks left over. So there's Bowser, R.I.P. Yay, I win. And he goes through his tantrum arc. How could I lose? I have been so completely beaten by a Yoshi. How can this be? What could I have been thinking? Why did I start a fight I could not win? You just never learn, do you, Bowser? I had no idea a simple Yoshi could be so strong. Gaya! Yeah, Bowser, maybe this will be your lesson you get. Yeah, but here's the spell being broken. And there's a little bit of a closing dialogue before the credits. And there's little Yoshi showing up to provide comedic relief. Yeah, but all the characters give their input. have nothing to fear except fear itself. Ha ha ha! Let's go play together. Together under the clearest of blue skies. That, by the way, is what's shown in the opening screen.
Well, hope you guys enjoyed my playthrough. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. See ya! Tetris Attack! Tetris Attack!